Welcome to the Metro webinar. My name is Dan Perez and I'm the VP of New Media here at Metro. I'm going to present today the 60-second sales hook, which uses our CMSBot platform to create instant local websites. Let's start off why some businesses don't have a website. And for most local businesses, the lack of a website does come down to two things. And usually it's that it's too expensive, and of course it's difficult to manage. Hopefully we've eliminated both, and I do think we have with our CMSBot platform. So CMSBot is a platform that we've created at Metro, and it allows all of you to create local business websites going through several prompts. There's no cost upfront. You don't have to log in. You can simply just go through the entire process of creating a website just by clicking through 4 steps. So I'll show you a little bit more about the CMSBot platform. This is the site where you can get more information at any time in regards to CMSBot, how it works. We have some testimonials in here, and these are testimonials of our partners who are currently using the CMSBot platform. And you'll notice on the top, there's a try it now button. We've created this to test how you can create a 60-second website. So this isn't what you would actually use once you partner with us. When you partner with us, what we do is we create a co-branded digital marketing website. And so that website allows you to create websites under your umbrella. And it also allows us to track what sites you have created. And it also allows you to manage those sites as well as activate them and deactivate them. When we say the 60-second sales hook, that's because it takes about 60 seconds for you to create a website. Basically, again, you will use that digital marketing platform. And the way the sites do work is you can create an unlimited amount of websites under your umbrella. The only thing you get charged for is if you activate those sites. So you can create, let's just say 100 websites, and if only one of them goes through and they decide they would like to move forward, you would get billed from Metro $25 per site. Then you can charge a monthly fee per your market value. So we've seen most of our partners charge anywhere between $50 to $75 per month for these sites. We're trying to eliminate part where someone says, oh, it's too expensive to create this website. So why don't we just start off here? I'll show you an example digital marketing website that we've created. This is what you would receive as a partner. It's a digital marketing website that's co-branded with your logo, your design look, but this site can be used to create the website. So you do have your own get started button that will track what websites you've created with your digital marketing website. You can have information of how it works. And all of this is actually all created for you. You can at any time modify it. You can change the wording. You can change the images. You can add local to this. But what you're seeing here is, again, just an example of all the things that you can add to a site. You can create a blog. If you have services other than just creating websites, such as graphic design or ads, you can show that under your services. So I'll just give you a glimpse of how that would look. So going back to the home page, you can also have testimonials on this page. And again, these would be your client testimonials. You can have more information about your newspaper in here. But again, let's go and click Get Started. So that Get Started is where we're going to start with the 60-second website. The tour here, if you would like to see, it's basically just going to go through the steps of what we're about to show you right now. As you can see, there's no login required. There's no credit card required. All you need to do is enter the verification code that's provided for you. So I'm just going to copy this code, and then I'm just going to paste it in here, and I'm just going to go with Try It Now. So one thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to create a sample restaurant website for all of you to see. And then here's where you can select what you would like the business to be. So this is, again, how you would go about creating a sample website for your client. And again, this is where the 60-second clock starts. Here is where you select a category. Now, these categories are already curated with marketing information that's relatable to the category, as well as images that are all part of Metro. This product is only for Metro subscribers. And the reason for that is because every image that you're using within this site is copyright protected with Metro. If we do not have the category here, and it's very specific, something that's unique to a local business, you can select other. In this example, what I'll do is I'll just create a restaurant site. So I've just selected restaurant, and we go to the next process. So here is where you select a color. So you'll notice that we have a limited number of colors here. There are more once you actually create a site, but we're just trying to get you started so then you can create a presentation website for your client. So in this case, I'll just use the maroon. And then what we do is we select 3 photos. And again, these are all Metro photos. Everything that you're seeing here, you can actually download from Metro, even at a higher resolution than what you're seeing here. So let's just say this is an Italian restaurant. And in this case, I don't see anything that I like here. I can always click here to load more photos and it refreshes the page with more photos. So in this case, I see this picture that I like. So I just click on that. That's the first of three. I'm just going to click that picture here as well. And then if there's a third photo, again, if I don't like anything that I see here, I can just reload. And let's just say we use this chef over here. So that's it. We've just created the first website for your client. That was hopefully less than 60 seconds. Now we can either celebrate again with the confetti, or we can just go and click view website. Now this bot will again guide you through the site. What you're seeing right now is full access. So there's no limitations at what you're seeing here. This is what your client would be paying for if they decide to activate the site and move forward. So as you can see, the site already created itself with the color design that we added here. It automatically creates an about area, adds a contact area. It creates marketing content based on the category that you've selected. So in this case, it's a restaurant. And it will put that name of the Savior restaurant inside the wording that you see here. And this isn't a one-page landing site. This is actually a site that is building itself out as you're creating content or adding content. This is one page. This is a landing page, but it also has an about page. It also has a contact page, and you can continue adding more. And the way you would add more is using our dashboard. The second part to the reasoning why local businesses do not have a website is because they feel that it's too complex to update their site. So what we've done, our dashboard, and we're extremely proud of this. This is where you can update the logo, you can update the content, you can update the images. So let's just take a look at this Savior website that we've created, the dashboard. So the dashboard is the area that, again, you can update the site. So as you can see, here's that little bot again telling us, okay, here you can update your menu, you can update the coupons, you can update the events. So let's just jump right into the dashboard. As you can see, the first alert here, it's actually giving you some recommendations. So in this case, we actually do direct links. So everything that you're seeing here is clickable. So if it says street address, I click on street address. And it gives me that info and design page where you can update that street address. So here's that information. You can also jump into this info design just by clicking on info and design. So it is somewhat of a learning curve to understand what every one of these areas are, but it's not a technical curve, meaning that you don't have to learn any programming in order for you to update anything here. So you'll eventually know exactly where everything is. We've tried to make it as intuitive as possible. So I'll just go through some of the parts here so you can add staff profile. So in this case, maybe you can add a chef, you can add menu and coupons. So in this area, there's several items that you can do. Here's something else. As you add to the site, it will create a page for you. And I'll just show you how intuitive everything here is. So if I were to create a menu, I could say pastas, and then I could give some information in here. So I'm going to use my lorem ipsum as some sample text. So and you guys can see how that would look on the site itself. I can then upload an image. I can also select an image from our seasonal gallery. So again, if it was something themed about St. Patrick's Day, I could select here. But in this case, we're just going to go and select the image that we already have here. So again, these are all Metro images. And I just scroll to the bottom of the page and I could say, let's just stay with that. And I'm just going to submit that. So what it should do is it should create a new tab menu. And it says pastas. And then it gives me the images. So again, this is one page. This is another page in here. This is a page. This is a page. So we're already at 5 pages, I believe. And that starts building out your pages for what's called a sitemap that we submit to Google. And I'll get into the whole SEO and the reasons why we are doing what we're doing here. So let me just go back to the presentation. These are stats that I've provided in regards to why we do what we do and try to work as closely with what Google asks for. And this is where that whole SEO part comes in. Here's just some stat numbers for you. So 76% of consumers that search for a business online, they're searching before they're visiting their location. It's crucial that they do have a digital footprint online. 45% of those consumers are going to the business if they have a strong online presence. And then 53% of small business traffic does come from organic search. So this is where Google plays a very important part for trying to build these sites that you're seeing here. So consider Google like a home inspector. If you were to purchase a home, and when you're going to purchase a home, an inspector has to make sure that everything is okay with that home. And if they find anything wrong with that house, they're going to say you have to fix all of this before you can pass and purchase this home. Google does the same thing. They're looking at your site and they're saying, hey, there's something wrong here, or this is correct. Is there a lot of content? Is there a little bit of content? And that's the way Google decides that they're going to show someone higher up, which is organic search results, or lower down. And so what we try to do is everything possible for that SEO to work for you. I'll show you a couple little tricks here. And again, whether you're using CMSBot or not, these are things that you really want to consider when you're creating a website. So for one, this site right now, we want people to know that this is the Savor Restaurant website. And the way you do that with Google is Google, and this is where I'm going to get a little technical, but I do want to get technical so that you all understand how this all works with Google. This Savor Restaurant is considered what's called an H1. Technically, Google looks at anything that's H1 as the top priority on your site. So we've automatically applied that to your sites. All the SEO is already built into these sites. So for example, if I hover over the image, you'll notice it says Savor Restaurant over that image. So we're giving that a title. So then Google knows automatically that this is an image from the Savor Restaurant. We even do that with the links that you're seeing here. So there's a reasoning why it says more about Savor Restaurant instead of just saying learn more or read more, because Google wants to know, what am I learning more about? If you are building out any of these sites, and these are for all my current clients out there, try to use words that you're trying to get keywords for. So meaning, in this case, if it's Savor Restaurant and we know it's an Italian restaurant, we need to make sure that somewhere around here it says Italian restaurant, because if we don't do that, Google doesn't know it's an Italian restaurant. It looks at the pictures, but it doesn't know that it's an Italian restaurant. So that's where you have to start putting those keywords into the content itself. So in this case, right now it doesn't have Italian restaurant. So you would want to go in there and add the Italian restaurant. So let's just say if we did want to modify this, we would just go into the dashboard. And then I would go into what's called the About. So that's inside the info and design. And then if I scroll down the page a little bit more, in here, you just try to add more and more content that relates to the keywords. You really want to put those keywords in there. Other things that you can do. So for example, in this case, this Savor Restaurant, let's just say they have a reservation system out there. Generally, restaurants and other types of sites can have third-party apps online. What that means is, for example, if there's a shopping e-commerce site, but it's using like an Etsy, you can link out to any of those sites. And that's what these menu links do. So we can just say reservation. And then in this case, I'll just use Google as an example. So what you would do is if you had a third-party reservation program, they generally would give you a URL that you would add in here. And then you would just type whatever you would like that menu link to appear. So once I click submit, it will add that up here. There's a contact form in here. So that contact form will actually send an email to anyone that fills this out. Not only does it send you the email, it will also, in case you don't have an email, it will store that email like a temporary archive. And it's almost like a CRM because you can actually then put little notes in there based on, did you call the person back and so forth. This is what you would show your clients when, after you create the 60-second sales hook, you want to show them how easy and intuitive this backend system is. And then once they start seeing how this is, they start feeling, hey, look, I can update the site. I can add all these things onto the site. They can add testimonials at any time. Everything is just nothing where you have to code. Let's say Tom sample. And then I'll use some of that lorem ipsum as a testimonial. I can then put, let's say, 4 stars. And I can upload an image. In this case, let's just say I don't have an image. I'll just upload it this way. When I go to the home page, it will now add that testimonial to the homepage. And if you have multiple testimonials, it will rotate those testimonials. As you start adding more to your site, you'll notice that as you go through your pages, you'll start seeing some repetitive areas. So for example, the testimonials is on the right-hand side. About the Savor Restaurant is on the right hand side. And the reason for that is, again, going back to Google and SEO, if someone landed on this page because of a search result that someone was looking for pastas in the area, this is the page you would have landed on. And so now it pushes that, hey, look, by the way, here are some testimonials, here's some information about the saver. All of this has now become almost like a landing page about pastas. So again, you are building SEO as you keep creating more and more and more. So even the testimonials creates a page for itself. So I think at this point, we almost have 10 pages of content on the site. So that's something else that you also want to keep in mind. The more that you have content that relates to what you're trying to promote. So for example, Italian restaurant, the more that Google's going to say, this is the place to go to for an Italian restaurant. And again, it's going to say, let's just say we said New York City in a certain area. It would look at what's the city and the state. It looks at all of that. And that's how it starts processing through and saying, this is the place to go. If you compare this to a landing page site, that wouldn't do it for you because it's only one page. So Google's going to say, is that page more relevant than a 11-page site that we just created? For all of you who already have the sites right now, so these are some of the latest updates that we've done to the site. So for example, I just showed how we have testimonials, logo. So logo is something that it's a little finicky because if you look at the Savor restaurant, so right now we just have text, and here's something else that you can possibly do. With text here, the Savor restaurant, you can change that. So say, for example, Savor restaurant does not have a logo. You can go and click font and change that logo or that text of that logo to be somewhat similar to what they would like. Or if they don't have a logo, you can suggest, hey, this would be a nice design for you. If they do happen to have a logo, you can upload that logo. So I'll show you how that is done. I do have a sample logo that I can show you. So in this case, let's just say I have a logo and it's a wide logo. So it should fit perfectly in here when I submit. So the update to our logos is not so much that. The update is they may have more of a square logo. So let's just delete this logo and I'll show you, this is where we've updated our logo system. So if you had a square logo, and in this case, I've just created a different logo for Savor and they have a square logo, you'll notice that the top just changed. Another question that we have gotten is how come there aren't more colors? This is something that, again, pertains to the Google SEO. What Google does is they actually look at the colors that you use on the site and they try to see, is that a good contrast with the white that you're using up here? If it's not, it will give you a negative score. All these colors that you see here have received a positive score with Google. So that's our latest improvement with the logo. Another improvement that we've done is we've now allowed you to rename menu items. So if you go to the menu links, I would like to say, instead of testimonials, in this case, we'll say reviews. I can rename that. I can rename the about to say about us. And once I click submit, it will update those two up there. So now instead of testimonials, we have reviews. And for about, we have about us. Now, it not only just updates it there, it will update it throughout the entire site. Anything that says testimonials will now say reviews. Anything that said about will now say about us, and so forth. So that is another improvement to the site. We've added advanced schema markup. And what this does is it ensures that AI search engines get the correct information from your site. So this is a little bit more on the tech side, but we do want to let you know that we've applied that. So let's just say if I did New York City restaurant, you'll notice now, not only are you getting everything that you see here, but there is now AI mode. Once we submit a sitemap, which we do, once you decide that you're going to activate the site, we submit a sitemap to Google so that they know exactly, hey, there's a new site out there and it has all these pages. And that sitemap actually updates itself automatically as you update the site. I'd like to debut something brand new that we are showing for the first time today. And it's actually this. It's called our new QR slider plugin. Right now, I'm using it. What you're seeing here as a presentation, this is the QR slider. If all of you have a phone, you can scan this QR code and you'll actually see the same presentation that I'm doing right now on your phone. What does this QR slider do? promote events, monthly events, dinner specials, a business history, enhanced article. So this is, again, a plugin. It's only available if you decide that you would like to have it activated. This plugin is available for all digital marketing sites as well as your client sites. So you would be able to control if your client gets this or not. And if you activate them to receive this QR slider plugin, then you would just pay the $15 a month for that client to have this plugin. And then you in turn can charge them whatever fee for this plugin at your monthly rate. And that would again be in addition to the $25 a month rate for the website. So let's just say someone decides they would like to create the Savor restaurant and they would like to have this plugin. It would be a total of 25 plus 15, and that would be 40 a month for the fee that Metro charges you. And then you in turn can charge your client whatever fee that you would like. So let me just show you how this all works. I'll give you a scenario here. What we're seeing here, what I'm showing you, this whole presentation is actually using the QR slider. It does have zoom effects. So if all of you have a phone, if you can, just scan this QR code that you're seeing here on your screen. When you scan that code, it should allow you to see what you're going to see here. Here's how it would look. And you can promote anything that you would like. In this case, we're promoting events. We can highlight a date. It could show a pricing in this highlight area. It is limited to the amount of text to make it mobile responsive. So if any of you scanned that code that I showed previously, you should be able to see this on your phone and notice that it's very simple to move around and go through it. So the idea of this is that you could go to any restaurant that has a website under the CMSBot, and you can say to them, by the way, you know what, why not put this QR code at your bar while people are sitting at the bar? Now they can scan this QR code and say, look, I can see all the events coming up for this month. I'll give you another example of how you can use this. So this is for all the newspapers out there. You can also use this to expand. So I'm sure a lot of you are using QR codes to give more information or to link to an article online. But in this case, you can actually create a slideshow presentation of what you're trying to promote. So I'll just zoom in on this. By scanning this QR code, it should take you to an example site that I've created. If you scan that QR code, it sees something like this. Now, the reason for this QR slider is that it's not so much to take away from your website. It's just to focus in either on an event, a product, or anything that you would like. So in this case, I'm using it as an example. You can add your own local photos. You can add your content. Here's another picture. And we also have themes. So we are starting to add themes to this QR slider. In this case, because it's St. Patrick's, we can use a St. Patrick's theme, which you're seeing here. You could change the color backgrounds. There's a lot that you can do with these. You can also make them automatic, meaning that it will automatically play. That's our QR slider. If you have any questions or you would like to try this out, simply go to our CMSBot platform. So you can go to our website, which is CMSBot.com. If you would like to become a partner, you simply just click our contact here on CMSBot.com and then fill out the information here and submit. And then again, if you would like to test out how this all works, you can simply just click the try it now here, and then you can create a website for a client. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to email me. You can also give me a call. Thank you again all for joining us today. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye-bye.